Hi everybody! Today we're moving on to what I think is part 5 of my top 10 favourite colouring book artists little mini series, which has been a little bit neglected lately, sorry to say, but yeah, we are actually moving on to part 5 today. And today we're going to be looking at Kanoko Egusa. See here, this is one by Kanoko Egusa and also Dada Mao. So I thought those two artists would fit in with my theme for this month, so I thought I'd try and squeeze in this little video before I actually do my finished pages video. And some of these that I'll be showing you are fairly recent. Some like this one are fairly old, but I'll be showing you some pretty recent ones, so you might have seen some of them before, but hopefully there'll be some that you haven't seen, at least for a while. And right at the end of the video, there will be a really new one that I've only just finished. It will be going into my finished pages for January video as well, but you'll be getting a little bit of a sneak peek today if you watch till the end. And it's one of my favourite pictures that I've coloured this month, so yeah, I'm quite excited to show you that one. But I'm starting as far back as I can probably go. And this one is from 2020, this one by Kanoko Egusa. And this one was a freebie at the time, I think, from one of my Facebook colouring groups. It was a Christmas contest they had going on, and Kanoko had given us this picture as a freebie, so I printed this one out onto watercolour paper. And I have had a question in the past which watercolour paper that I use to print out onto, and the one that I use is this one. It's from Wilco's, which I'm not exactly sure what's going on with them lately. They might have closed down, I'm not entirely sure. But I do have a whole new watercolour pad here, so I do have some spare just in case. It's pretty thin. It says it's 180 GSM, but it's really pretty thin watercolour paper, and it does go through my printer. But of course, if you do print out onto the watercolour paper, you do have to be very careful of the ink. You need to be a bit sparing of your water, because the ink, if you don't have a laser printer, the ink will be water soluble, so you have to be pretty careful with that. But that's what I did. I printed out onto that watercolour paper, and I coloured it with super tips used as watercolour, this one, using the method of scribbling onto a plate and picking up the colour with a damp brush and just painting it on as watercolour. And I remember being really pleased at the time, really pleased with myself for doing this kind of brick texture in the background there. I was really pleased with that, and to do that I just painted the whole brick as solid of a colour as I could using the super tips, and then I dropped on some clear water kind of along one edge, because that's the side I decided my light was coming from. So I dropped on the clear water to give these kind of watercolory effects there on the side to make it look a little bit lighter, and I was really pleased with that kind of texture I had going on with those bricks in the background. I think there might be a little touch of pencil shading, maybe on this bauble here I can see a little bit, and there's a few little touches of white gel pen highlights, but I was really trying from the looks of it to let the white of the paper show through and actually be the highlights using the white of the paper. So yeah, I remember being really pleased with that one way back in the day, and I still quite like it now actually. But anyway, that's the first one that I've done by Kanoko Egusa. The second one is also a PDF, and I think this one was also a freebie for another Christmas contest. Probably the same colouring group actually. And this one I did using a marker base, like a full marker base you can see there on the background, and just going in with pencil shading. I tried to keep it to the earth tones to give it a kind of cozy little house effect with these little mice getting ready for Christmas here, making their pies. I remember adding in the snow on the window. There was no snow on that window there, so I was quite pleased with that. And this was back when I just had my Touch Cool markers, I think. So this was Touch Cool markers, and then just shaded on top with pencil, keeping to a fairly warm kind of natural colour palette. And yeah, there were quite a few white gel pen highlights on this one, especially for that water there in the buckets, and for the fur of the mice, which I was quite pleased with, because this also was a fairly early one, 2021, that one. So yeah, I was quite pleased with the fur effect I had going on with the mice. I added a few of these little cracks into the background plaster as well, to make it look like a really well lived in cozy little house they had going on. And yeah, also quite pleased with that one when it was actually done. And I think I actually won the colouring book with this one. I won one of Kanoko Egusa's colouring books, which I will also be showing you a little bit later on. So yeah, that's the second one that I coloured by Kanoko Egusa. Next, we're moving on to the Colouring Heaven specials that I have by Kanoko Egusa. This is the first one that I have. This is the Animal Wonderland special. She did actually have one that came out before this one. I can't remember what it's called, but there was one that came out before this one. Unfortunately, that was before I got into colouring really seriously, so I didn't grab that one before it sold out on the website, which is a shame. I'd love to have that one. But I do have this one, which is also a lovely issue, and I'll show you what I've worked on in here. This first one you will have seen in my W.I.Ps video, but it's not very much of a WIP. I could barely call this one a WIP, I think. And later on in this magazine, I'll be showing you one that I did colour using one blue Brro pen to colour a whole page. And I really enjoyed doing it. So once I'd finished that, I thought, oh, that was really fun. I'm going to do that again and colour another page just with a blue pencil this time. But that's as far as I got before I actually got fed up of colouring this page all in blue. But there's not very much there, so I can easily erase that or paint over it or whatever and give myself pretty much a clean slate with that picture, because yeah, Kanoko Egusa's pictures are beautiful, so it really doesn't deserve to be stuck as that little bit of a WIP as it seems to be stuck as at the moment. So I really need to work on that one. Next we have this one, which I also would have shown in my W.I.Ps video, I think, fairly recent W.I.Ps video. And this one, as I said, fell victim to me thinking that I could work with pastel colour pencils and get a nice picture done. I really don't like working with pastel colours. I think this one was a challenge on the Friends of Colouring Heaven Facebook group to do an Easter picture in pastel colours or something like that. So I had recently got the Astra Pastelo pencils, so I started this picture trying to use those, and I do like how the flowers have turned out. I like the flowers. I'm not too happy with this leaf because the greens are not the usual desaturated greens I like to use for leaves, and I wasn't happy with this chick as well because I couldn't get the shadows that I really wanted onto that chick there. But yeah, if I do work back into that, I might try erasing the leaf and the chick. Maybe this bit of green grass I've got going on at the bottom. There's a tiny little bit of green grass as well at the bottom there. But that's all I managed to get done on that one, because I really, as I've said, don't like using pastel colours. Sometimes I think that maybe I can get past that little roadblock I have for using pastel colours, but no. It usually ends in a little bit of a failure. So yeah, that's another WIP that I need to get back to. The next few are finished pages. We have this one from about a year ago now, when I was doing rabbits as my theme for the month for Year of the Rabbit last year. And I really remember this one being super enjoyable. Even though I don't like colouring flowers and I don't like repetitive patterns, I really, really enjoyed this one. And this was just after I saw a video by, I think it was A Cluttered Life, on using super tips as watercolour. And this is the first one I actually tried using that method. And I actually coloured in the page for this one. I actually coloured in the page, and then I went in with the water, clean water on like a damp brush to dissolve all the ink and make these lovely effects in the background. And I really enjoyed painting these poppies. For the rabbits in the middle, I gave them a marker base. I gave them the marker base there in the background, and I just went in and shaded it with some cool grey because I wanted this to look like a kind of porcelain or a china plaque in the middle of that frame there. Maybe this is a fabric picture frame with a porcelain plaque in the middle. I did try and give some little shine lines there as well to play with that effect. But yeah, I remember really enjoying that one. Super fun that one was. Next we have this one. We have this one, and this one, get it all in frame, there we go. This was also a Facebook group challenge, I think, to colour a page that you wouldn't normally colour, which for me is flowers. I'm really not much of a flower colourist. I don't mind one or two or a little group of flowers on a page, as long as they're not the main focus, and this one is a full page of flowers. So yeah, not something I'd normally colour, and to use your least favourite colours. So I figured my least favourite colours to use would probably be the pencils that were the longest pencils I had in the tin. So I picked out all the longest pencils from, I think they were Castle Arts. I picked out the longest pencils, obviously the ones I hadn't used as much, and I ended up doing this one. I think the background was chalk pastel, and then I erased these circles to give a sort of bokeh effect. One of my early attempts at bokeh. It's not too bad. I think I could probably blend it a little bit better now. This is back in 21, so yeah. And then I shaded over the pastel with some pencil, I think. I brought in the black, which wasn't one of my favourite colours, but I figured I could get away with that. And yeah, really quite pleased with how that came out, considering it is flowers and not something that I would normally colour. I do love the little ladybugs. Yeah, I think they've stood out really well. There we go. That's that one. Full page of flowers, not something you normally see from me. Next, what do we have next? Oh, this is a very, very early one. 2020, yes. I think this one was another pastel colour challenge, but I did kind of cheat a little bit by adding orange for the fox. And this one was done with the Colour pencils, trying to keep to the pastel kind of colour palette. I did bring in a gold glitter gel pen. Can I get that to shine? A little bit. That's a gold glitter gel pen. And each square is also very glittery. Yeah, I used the glitter glue in the background. I think that's probably just a cheap kids glitter glue, that one. I don't think that's the Dovecraft. I think that's just a cheap glitter glue. I could be wrong. But yeah, not one of my best efforts, but yeah, it was quite fun to do. And I remember actually looking up daffodils and finding that, yeah, pink daffodils are a thing. So yeah, we do have pink daffodils on one of those little patches there. But yeah, they do exist. And there we go. That's that one. It's another finished page. Next, this is the one I was talking about, the whole page with the blue biro. And this, yeah, I love this one. This is my favourite page in the magazine. I do have it scanned in and saved, this one, because I do love it and I want to try another version in colour at some point, I think. But this one was done just with a big biro, blue big biro. Lots of hatching, cross hatching, very, very many layers, especially for these darker areas up here. And this one didn't really like being scanned at all. Hopefully it's showing up properly on the camera, but yeah, the light was glaring so much when I tried to scan it because there's so many layers of biro. But yeah, this one was super fun, and that's why I decided to try and do some more pages just with blue, but that failed miserably, because yeah, I enjoyed this one so much, it just wasn't the same, I think. There's quite a few techniques there. Kind of a scribbly technique to get these leaves going. There's lots of hatching, cross hatching, just straight lines there for the crystal to give that a bit direction, some dots on the flowers. And it was quite interesting to try and make this tunnel look as if it was going away into the distance. The little mouse is there inside his tunnel house, and yeah, making every element look different and stand out. So yeah, I am super proud of that one. Still one of my favorite Kanoko Egusas, that one. I do love it. Next one, yep, this is the last one, also a finished page. And this one I did with Crayola pencils. Yeah, I remember doing this one with Crayola pencils, trying to give it a kind of watercolory look with the Crayola pencils, because there was a printing error down the side of the page. I'm not sure if it will show up. Along the edge of this page, there's a big grey blob of ink. You can maybe see on the top there. Big grey blob of ink all down the side, bit of a printing error. So I wanted to work that in and give more of the watercolour effect. Maybe it's leaked over the edge of the page. Kind of work in that printing error, which is always a little bit of a challenge. And I think it's worked because you can't really notice it at all now. So yeah, mission accomplished. And yeah, not really much to say about that one. Just Crayola pencils, trying to give a little bit of a watercolour effect. If I can bring it in a little bit closer, you can see actually what I mean. Yeah, these kind of washy lines. And yeah, this is the old Colouring Heaven paper, so it was taking the Crayola pencils really well. Got those to look pretty bright, I think, for Crayolas. And lots of deliberate mistakes, making the colour run there, but yeah, obviously it's coloured pencils, so definitely on purpose. And that's the last one in this issue of Colouring Heaven. I also have the recent Enchanted Animal special, and I haven't actually worked in this one yet. I'll show you a few, maybe show you a few little kind of images we have in this one. I'm not sure how well the pages will be showing up with the light there. But yeah, that was unusual with this one. Kanoko has actually drawn little fairies and little figures into some of these pictures, which is really interesting. She doesn't usually do that. Usually it's just the animals. Yeah, the cute little animals. So yeah, The usual fluffy animals, lots of fruits, lots of flowers. Again, a gorgeous issue. I really do need to work in that one. But unfortunately, I haven't yet. There's so many books and so little time, as they say. But yeah, that is the Enchanted Animal special. Next, we're moving on to Symphony of Cute Animals. And this is the book I actually won in that colouring contest I was telling you about. You can see there, Kanoko's actually signed this one. So yeah, really pleased with that. And I have actually got one finished page in here at least. Yeah, I remember colouring this one. We have this fox here, and I think I gave him a base of watercolour because this is a double-sided book. You can see there, double-sided book, so you can't use markers unless you're prepared to sacrifice the page on the other side. But these pictures are again in the first Colouring Heaven that I showed you, the Animal Wonderland special. They're also in there, so I suppose I could use markers if I was prepared just to colour in the magazine. But this is the one that I coloured in here, and this was for a scavenger hunt challenge where we were to find birch trees. So these were silver birch trees I coloured in the background. The rest watercolour, pencil shading, a lot of white gel pen. There's some silver as well to go around the snowdrops. We have some silver gel pen around the snowdrops. And I think these, I'm not sure what they are, lilies. Those have got gold gel pen to go around them. And I wasn't exactly sure whether these were leaves or petals, but yeah, they're leaves now. Yep, gold gel pen for these stamens here on these flowers as well. No glitter on that one. But yeah, when they're done, Kanoko Egusa, they are lovely. But yeah, I usually end up starting and not getting very far. But I think I get intimidated by the detail. But yeah, once they're done, they are lovely. Moving on, this is a WIP that probably be the next WIP that I work on this one, as I've had a couple of requests to get this one moving on. This one is just done using cross-hatching with black and brown Brros. I'm not sure if I can bring that up and show you. It's a bit hard to tell when I'm in focus, but yeah, lots of hatching and cross-hatching there with the brown and a black gel pen. So I need to get back into that one. I think that was again on the stage when I was colouring pages all in one colour, which I do love to do, but once you've done 3 or 4, yeah, you need a break from it. Next we have this one, I think was in my WIPs video. This is one I started around Halloween time and it really wasn't going very well for me. I first started it out with the Faber-Castell Classic pencils and I don't think I was liking how they were working. I couldn't get the colours that I wanted, so if I do go back to it, it will be with my usual pencils, Arteza, Castle Arts, I think. I did fail quite spectacularly with that background. I tried to do a kind of cream or beige plaster you can see in between the spider web there, but that really wasn't working, and I worked so much on it, it really failed. So in the end I just went over it with like a maroon gouache paint, and I thought, right, the background can be dark and they can have some dark paint on there. I have a little bit of glitter on that back there. I think there's gold gel pen on these buntings, and I did attempt a bit of marble effect on that pillar there. I think this floor was also a grey gouache paint because that doesn't look like a pencil. But yeah, we can sort that out if I do get back to it, because that is a lovely one. And I do have another WIP from in here when I was doing crystals as my theme for the month. We have this one, and this one was with Brro pencils. Yeah, Brro pencils, the same kind of maroon gouache paint. I think this background as well is also gouache paint. Brro pencils, lots of gel pen to go around the edges of the crystals. I remember being really pleased with how this bit of the scales ended up looking. I think that looked really nice. But yeah, I'd need to dig out the same colours that we had going on there with that one. And I think that one got abandoned for a while because I couldn't figure out how to do these wrappings on the bulbs here. I couldn't figure out how to do those because I think my head is telling me they're supposed to be like a Hessian kind of fabric, so I need to figure out some way to get that down on paper the way it's in my head, and we'll be good to go on that one. I do like the way it's turning out. As I said, I love the way this metal of this scales is going. I like the way the glass is looking, and I had to draw in the underside of the bulb there because yeah, there's again, my head was telling me these should be glass, this should be transparent and see-through, so I made it that way, and then I thought, well, you'd be able to see the underside of the bulb, so I had to draw that in. You can see there that I've started sketching in the second one as well, drawing those in. I do love the way these crystals came out, so that is another one I do want to get back to. And that is from Symphony of Cute Animals, Kanoko Egusa. And lastly, from Kanoko Egusa, I have Garden of Fairytale Animals, and unfortunately this one I also have not coloured in. But yeah, again, the usual Kanoko Egusa gorgeous pages. These big scenes, I can imagine them looking so good when they're done, but that would take forever. Ooh, that one would be fun to make a kind of watery background in, but I need to test the paper first to see if it does take watercolour. Yeah, this one I've seen coloured lots of times and it looks really nice when it's done, so yeah. And I'm not one to have to save Halloween pictures for Halloween, so I could have a go at that one. And yeah, that is the Garden of Fairytale Animals by Kanoko Egusa. Next we're moving on to Dada Mao, my Chinese books, and most of these I've gotten off AliExpress. I think there was one that I got off eBay and that kind of kick-started me into loving this artist, but the rest I've gotten off AliExpress. One of them was bought for me, I think, but the titles are not in any language I can read, so I've had to try and translate the best I could. And I think this one I've written down as, oh yeah, Nights of a Drunken River, this one, or Nights on the Drunken River, something along those lines. But this is the one with the kind of dark blue, almost purple foil on the front. That's the barcode info, if you can see that. And that's the front cover. I think I have one coloured in here. Yeah, this one is one where most of the pages are double page spreads, which is probably why it's not the one I turn to first, because they're big double page spreads. But this one I did do with watercolour, and the paper, as I said, usually takes watercolour pretty well. It's not soaked through. It's made some lovely watercolory effects there, especially on his, is that a belt? Yeah, it looks really nice. This one was for a limited palette challenge. So what I did, I picked out the watercolour, each colour I picked out in watercolour. There was a brown, this is dark blue. There was a ochre colour. I can't remember entirely, but it was a very limited palette. And what I did, I just picked out each colour in a watercolour, and that's all I used for the picture. Letting them kind of blob together and all make the nice interesting effects. And yeah, really super happy with how that turned out. These empty backgrounds are great for watercolour. You just plug on the watercolour, you've got a nice kind of ochre colour sky. And yeah, this one was for a scavenger hunt. I think Danny Button's scavenger hunt to colour a picture with a man, and it was quite a while ago, so I didn't have that many colouring books. Yeah, 2020 this one. I didn't have that many colouring books, so this is one of the only ones I had with the men in, and that is the one that I coloured in. But yeah, as I said, this one mainly double page spreads, so yeah, beautiful images. I do love Dada Mao. Gorgeous. And there we go, and that one, Nights of the Drunken River, or Nights on Drunken River, something like that. And next we have this one that I've written down as being called Magical Creature, this one. And this one has a kind of a purple, pinky purple kind of foil on the cover. I'll show the barcode. I'm not sure if anybody looks those up, but yeah, that's the front cover. And the one I coloured in here, it's also a fairly recent one. And this one I coloured using Super Tips as watercolour by scribbling on the plate and then getting the colour with a damp brush and putting it onto the page. I think most of this one is on, finishing off the W.I.P was on video, and it was a W.I.P for a long time because the blue soaked through. I was a bit too enthusiastic with my water, and yeah, you can see there the blue soaked through along the spine, and it's gone on quite a few of the previous pages. In fact, you can even see it there along the spine, the blue soaking through. So yeah, I was really annoyed with myself, so I put the page away. And yeah, I thought I'd spoiled all these pages, but looking back at it now, I could probably save them. I could probably do something, and just by painting or maybe paper collage in the case of a sleeve there, or thinking of something that can fix that. So I'm not too worried now. Again, the blue going down the stitching there. But yeah, Finishing off, the WIP is on video for this one, and I just used the Super Tips as watercolour. I can't quite tell if there is any pencil shading on this one, or whether I just used the watercolours. There is some gold Sharpie for these metal bits on her armour and her headdress. I've stuck on a couple of my little stick-on crystals you can see on her sword, on her knee pads there, and one on her headdress. Yeah, one on her headdress. To go with the colours, match the colours. As usual, there's the white gel pen. I've added highlights along her armour, these stars in the sky. And yeah, that one is a video on the channel, that one, finishing off that WIP. So I was really pleased to get that one finished and actually done. So there we go. That one is from Magical Creature. Yeah, Magical Creature, that one. Okay, next we have this one. This is the one with the turquoise, sort of sea green foil on the front. There is the barcode. That's helping, little QR code. This one I've done quite a few in. This is one of the earliest ones that I bought. And this one I've written down the title as, here we go, Mountain and Sea Classics, A Dream of Deities. Also by Dada Mal. This is the first one that I've coloured. And him I coloured just with Castle Arts pencils, I think. Don't think there's no marker base on that one. No marker base on that one. That one is just pencils. I tried to give this background. I think I might have drawn in this square around. I might have even drawn in the mountains. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But I tried to make that look as if he's standing in front of like a gold, kind of cast gold panel of some sort. Kind of Mushu inspired serpent dragon there. I do love the Eastern dragons, the serpent dragons. That's super cool. The golden pearl in his mouth there. There's some glitter. Oh, I've spotted some glitter on the pattern on the kimono there. One of the few times there that I have actually coloured a pattern that was drawn down for me. Yeah, not entirely detailed, but I have drawn it. There's a lot of white highlights there as well, and on his hair. One of my early attempts at doing black hair there. There's blue and purple and black, and goodness knows what colours in there, but it does look pretty shiny and cool. Quite a limited palette on that one, so yeah, really pleased with him. One of the earliest books I got, this one back in 2020, so I've coloured a couple in here, I think. Yeah, we also have this one here. This one again, I do love using coffee as a background colour. I coloured my lady with looking like Arteza pencils there. Did I give her a marker? I think this was before I actually had markers, to be honest with you. Yeah, just with Arteza pencils. There's a glitter glue on the wing, the dove's wing on her hair there. There's silver gel pen for the stalk of this flower that's twisting around in the background there. And the background, yeah, I did paint with coffee. This is gouache, I think, for this little sigil here. I painted the background with coffee, as I said, sprinkled on some grains to give it that kind of parchmenty, ancient art kind of effect that I do love to try and get. And yeah, was really pleased with her. I do love the limited palette. Oh, white gel pen to go around the flowers. I didn't mention that, did I? White gel pen around those flowers to give them a kind of delicate look. And yeah, really happy with that one. Fairly quick, but yeah, super effective and really happy with how she's turned out. And that one is Mountain and River Classics, A Dream of Deities, which is a bit of a tongue twister. Bit of a mouthful. Okay, and last we have this one, which I think is called Ancient Beauty. I've written down the title as Ancient Beauty, and this is the blue, kind of an ultramarine blue kind of foil on the front there. There we have the back information, and there is a few in this one because this is a fairly old one. This is one, also a fairly recent one that was a WIP for absolutely ages because I'd based it with markers. You see, yeah, I based that with markers, and this paper really didn't like markers at all. And way back in the day, well, I finished it in 23, but I think I started it 2019, 2020. I wasn't as good with my pencils. I couldn't figure out how to make that marker look good. But I went back last year. It's last year now, and worked on that a little bit more. Managed to smooth out the blotchy markers. I did dab on some gouache paint here onto the turquoise to give that kind of sky cloudy effect. We have washi tape for the sleeves, the edges of her kimono there, just with the pattern. You can see the pattern through still, so I just drew it with a gold gel pen. There's some metallic paint on the top of her kimono, gold and a purple. There is glitter also. I was trying so hard to make that marker look good. But yeah, once I'd smoothed it all out with the pencils, it was pretty plain sailing from there. There's some metallic Sharpie for this kind of lace that she's putting into her hair and for her crown, I think. There's some paper collage. This is paper collage where I traced the shape, cut out the paper and stuck it on top. And down the bottom for her belt is where I cut out the shape and stuck the paper behind. Both the same paper, which I thought went with my colour scheme quite well. Again, this one was a pastel challenge, I think, which is why the colours are not my usual colours. I do love her pink hair, though. I do love that. I drew in this frame rectangle in the background, give it a go around the edge with, I think this is gold Sharpie, painted that with coffee without sprinkling any grains. I just wanted the nice kind of yellow brown colour, a bit of an off-white. And for the petals floating over the top of this coffee pot, I went around those with the white gel pen. I left these with the black, which I think worked quite well to separate the inside the frame and outside the frame. I don't know, it worked for me. And yeah, another one I was glad to be done, because it had been hanging around for so long with me not knowing how to fix it up. But there we go, that's the first one I've done. This one you will have definitely seen recently from my coffee splash video. This is where I made a tiny little bit of instant coffee, splashed it onto the page, went around the edge with a black fine liner just to define the colouring area, and then coloured on top with Albrecht watercolour pencils. And that one is a video on the channel, and most of the process is on video. There's a lot of stick-on crystals, because why not? Why not have a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of bling? And yeah, as I said, they do make colouring the previous pages a little bit difficult, but with a thick enough kind of stack of paper in between, you can work on top. I think after the video I did go in and shade this parasol a little bit more yellow than what it was. Yeah, we can see that showing up on the camera. That's a lot more yellow than what it was with that light ochre, I think. And I added another little crystal on a forehead symbol. Get that shining. Yeah, I added another little crystal there. You can never have too many, right? And yeah, super happy with how she turned out. Love the limited palettes. And yeah, with these Chinese pictures, I do love to use the coffee as the kind of parchment, like ancient painting kind of effect. So yeah, I love that one. And lastly, in this book, we have this one. And this one also was a challenge on one of my colouring groups, I think. The main challenge was to depict a picture showing the weather, and this one didn't have the rain in the background. I've added all the rain in the background. I think that's just with white gel paint going on top of the background there, adding a few drips into the window to make it look all wet and rainy outside. And for an added challenge, we could use a limited palette. And again, I picked one watercolour for each of the colours in the limited palette, and that's what I used to colour the picture with various strengths of watercolour, which is probably a little bit cheaty, but it's how I wanted to do it, and it's my picture. The main elements of the picture ended up going around the outside, giving them a outline with the white gel pen to make them stand out from the background. Yeah. Again, super happy with how that's turned out. I do love these Chinese books. Beautiful. Kind of detailed. There's a pagoda in the background there. I've kind of glossed over because backgrounds, landscapes are not my forte, but it's not really that noticeable. So it's way in the background, so it's not that important. And yeah, another one from 2020. Really love how it looks today still. And yeah, that's the last one from this book. Ancient Beauty, I think this one was called. That one there. And last but not least, we have the Flowers and Sweet Girls, and I'm pretty sure this one is also Dada Mao. And this is the picture I've been dying to show you. This is a spoiler for my finished pages video. I super love this one, how it's turned out. It's also a WIP that I've worked on and just finished it a couple of days ago. Oh, if I can find it. I do mark these pages, you wouldn't think, would you? And here we go. This is the one that I finished from this one. There we go. I love her. I still need to go in and finish off this little bit of hair. I noticed earlier I hadn't finished off that little bit of hair there. But yeah, I am obsessed. I love her. This one I ended up giving giving a marker base too. I did originally start her with the Fairytale, the cheap watercolour pencils to do these poppies here, and it was so much work that I just put it to one side and said, no, I can't be doing with that. It's too much. But I went back in with the Brro pencils and I tried to make these flowers look pretty much the same. I think I've managed to do that. They do look pretty much the same. For the rest, I thought, no, I don't want to be messing around with watercolor pencils, so I went in with my usual marker base. I smoothed it out with pencils, I did the shading. These stars are all little star stickers, and it took ages to piece all these in, to try and make a pattern look random, to cut the stickers where it kind of went over the different sections of the fabric. Yeah, super pleased with this one. The background I was going to leave as plain blue marker, but I ended up going in and playing with it a little bit and had a bit of fun with that. And I tried using the hand gel, which I have used in a couple of videos. It takes away the pigment of the marker, so I took the circle stencil, painted the gel through into these little circles, and then that looked pretty cool. I thought, yeah, I might just leave it with the little bubbles floating around, but then I went back in and shaded a bit with watercolor pencil rather, and added a few little sparkles, a few little stars, and I love it. It's my favourite page I've coloured this month, and I couldn't wait till the end of the week to show you the finished pages. I had to show you today, so yeah, hopefully you're loving her as much as I am. I really love her. I love this hair. I love the stars on the outfit. So yeah, it's just all come together. And considering when I first put the markers down, and I was kind of second guessing myself, saying, oh, I hope these colours do end up going together. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. Using the purple with the black and gold, and then putting in this really crazy galaxy pastel hair, and yeah, it's worked out super well, I think, and I love it. So oh, that's enough gushing. That's enough gushing from me, I think. There we go. That's my last picture by Dada Mouse. So I think that brings me to 7 artists now, and there are 3 left that I will try to put all together in one video. And there will possibly be a few honourable mentions, or I haven't quite decided whether to make that into a separate video for kind of the honourable mentions, the artists that I really love but I haven't really coloured very much of. Most of the artists in this video series are ones that I do have enough pages to show you and be kind of interesting, instead of me just naming off artists and saying I like them and not being able to show you anything. But yeah, the next one will have 3 artists, and then maybe there'll be another video with artists that I really love but I've only maybe coloured 1 picture or something. Kind of honourable mentions. But anyways, thank you for bearing with me through this video. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye.